Hey guys, this is going to be a review video of the LG Aristo 3, and I have been using this for a little bit, and I'm going to give a full review of it and if it is a pretty good phone or not. So first things first, let's go over this overall design of the phone. So the phone is constructed out of plastic, and it is pretty expected at this price point. And it's a pretty nice plastic. It feels really nice. It feels smooth. It's a hard plastic. It's not soft or anything. So it feels pretty generic, inexpensive, affordable phone. And on the side, it has this kind of metallic look almost, but it's still definitely feels like plastic. And there's no denying it. And that the volume buttons are really good. Are pretty good, I would say. Actually, they're not like remarkable, but they are pretty tactile. The power button is in the back, and this might seem like a fingerprint scanner, but it is not a fingerprint scanner. It's simply a power button that turns the phone on, if you or off, like that. And there's the earpiece right there with the front-facing camera, and there is a rear-facing camera right here, and then there's a flash right there. And the ports, there is a headphone jack, and there is a micro USB cable slot, so it doesn't use USB-C. And there's also a microphone here and here. So that's the phone. There's no expandable storage or anything, but it does have a headphone jack, which is really nice nowadays. The more expensive phones tend not to have headphone jacks. So let's go into the display. Let's take a look at the display. It's it's an okay display. It's really not remarkable anything. It is pretty viewable. I would say for this price point, it is fair. It's pretty decent. The screen gets relatively bright. But the quality of the screen could be a little bit better. I think could have been a little bit better. Oops, did not mean to call that. Anyways, the screen can be a little bit better. It is pretty low resolution as it is 720p, and you can definitely tell that it is 720p from just the simple raw look at it. So the display isn't the best, but at this price point, it is kind of a given. The speed and the smooth fluidity of the phone is pretty good, I would say. Obviously, this isn't going to match the top flagship phones of 2019 or anything like in a mid-range or even, but it does do pretty well. Like normal web browsing, Instagram viewing shouldn't have too much of a hiccup. It does stutter a little bit, like occasionally, and that's only when you have a lot of apps running or if you're doing like heavy tasks like gaming, but otherwise it's pretty good. And the LG skin on top of it isn't as bad as I thought it would be. It's definitely not my favorite, especially the settings app needs a lot of work because I do not like how they lay it out. You could change it to list view, but that's still pretty messy. So LG UI does need some work in some aspects, but it does work pretty well, and it's pretty smooth, so that's good. The battery life on this thing is also pretty good. You should be able to get a full day of use because it has a low power processor, and it also has a lower resolution screen, which will use up less battery. It has a 2410 milliamps of battery, and yeah, so LG batteries are pretty good, and there is a SIM card slot, and there is actually a removable SD card slot, so you can fit in a bunch of extra storage, which is very useful sometimes. So let's get into the camera now, because the camera is also a very important aspect of the phone. Now this is another place where I really don't like the LG UI. The camera is really slow, and it's just not the best. Now the camera, I will show you why it's slow. So if I just take a picture of this portrait here, you can see that was pretty fast, but if you're like on the camera app, or if you open the camera app while you're like playing games or even Instagramming, it will lag a little bit. It'll take time. It'll take some time. So that was one of the things that I was kind of bummed about, the camera quality, or I mean the camera speed. But the camera app is pretty good. It has this like adjuster for zoom and zoom out, so which was pretty nice to see. And it has all kinds of modes right here, and it has filters right here, and obviously you can use the selfie camera for other stuff. So that's pretty good. Now, the overall, as you can see, it's a pretty good phone overall. But would I recommend it to people for this price point? I wouldn't, because there are other better options to get. And the overall design of this phone and just the lacking display, I think, is one of the main reasons. The speed and everything is really good, actually. I would say pretty good. The cameras, you know, like you definitely shouldn't expect much out of the camera from the phone of these price points. So I'm not bummed about the camera. I'm more disappointed about the overall design. And it's just not a good looking phone to look at, honestly. It's just a very traditional phone. Looks like a traditional phone. And it also has very thick bezels and the display being just alright or even meh doesn't help at all. So I do think there are better options out there, and I hope this review helped, and so please give a like. Thank you.